CGIF, welcome to Breakfast Central. It's the final day in the week, not in the month, by the way. And
Are you sure?
Yes, it's the final day.
This month is feeling like it has 55 days.
It has what?
55 days.
I agree. It's quite slow. It's long, but I mean, you could tell I'm feeling sad already. That it's. Oh, God.
Oh my goodness.
This Oliver.
Let me just drink my coffee.
Anyway, if you just tuned in, welcome to Breakfast Central. I'm Johansson, and thanks to the guys who always drop their comments on YouTube. We see you. Well done.
I think we should even start giving awards for our favorite YouTube viewers and YouTube engagements. Thank you so much for always being a part of the conversation. So welcome to today's TGIF edition of Breakfast Central. My name is Olive Emodi. For the next 3 hours, we'll be looking at some of the stories that have made the newspaper front pages, also having guests looking at different stories from politics to PDP, to also looking at what's happened with Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, which is how we begin the conversation this morning on Breakfast Central. But remember that you can engage with us at News Central TV on all social media platforms. Thank you once again for joining us this morning.
That's right. So let's go straight to our very first wake-up story. By the way, congratulations to the team of News Central. Yesterday's Borno Town Hall series was very, very, I'd say, fantastic, especially where the managing director and editor-in-chief, Mr. Kayode Akintemi, spoke very kindly of the governor.
Governor, yes.
Who came.
And you know, when he said that, we've done several town halls, and the essence of this town hall is to be the voice, as we typically are, the voice of the people, the bridge between the government and the governed, to give the government the opportunity to hear the cries of the governed. And we can find how, when all the necessary stakeholders are brought together, we can solve whatever issues or prefer solutions. Yeah. We've done this in several states. Invitation has been sent to different governors, like our MD and the editor-in-chief had said. He talked about how they invited all these governors. None of the governors showed up. Only the governor of Borno State, Governor Babangida, showed up. And you see that dedication. It's not just in showing up yesterday. He's been showing up for quite a while. Of course. He showed up when his people were attacked, and he went to stay with them to indicate their togetherness. Yeah. And I think it was something to be applauded. When he posted that, somebody in the Instagram comment section of News Central's page said, if this were election year, the story would be different. And that's the truth. If it were election year, those of them in their first tenure, they will all show up. They will even eat corn on the road. Yes, corn. You know, when and granite, and everybody will be looking very... They buy corn. Acting and theatrics, we would have seen it in full display at the town hall. So I'm hoping that citizens are watching and taking note of these things, so that when they start doing a lot of eye service, you know, that's not necessarily about you. It's about that position, the office that they need to, clench the seat for. I agree with you. And whether you like it or not, in as much as we come here on the show every now and then to speak, we would also take time to celebrate people who are doing well. Aside from the fact that we are spotlighting the Borno State governor, not just because he showed up at the town hall yesterday, but even yesterday, all of you, if you recall, the front page of the newspaper took time to celebrate his year in office and the achievements in which he has been able to push. And whether you like it or not, I mean, I've spoken with our correspondent who's there, who's on ground, Umaru Kirawa, and sometimes, I remember a fortnight, even a month ago when we spoke, and I asked him, I said, listen, can you also share with us what is going on? And he said, listen, Joe, he must be honest that there are a lot of things that the governor has actually done. And what we say here on Breakfast Central, or better still, as broadcasters, is you can do everything, right? Yes. Or you can claim, in quotes, to do everything, but are you showing working, as they usually say? It's not by mouth. It's not by mouth. You can't, there are certain things you cannot hide, just like a pregnancy cannot hide itself. You can decide to keep it from the public for a while. After a while, the baby will come out. So you can't claim to work. You're either working or you're not working. And the results will speak for itself. So we're hoping, I mean, over the course of when I was away, I was at an event and two governors were speaking. And it was like they were doing the battle of, who has better infrastructure, who has better facilities. It was Cross River State Governor, Senator Prince Bassiotu, and the governor of Ondo State, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. And both of them were arguing, as you know, we have a deeper seaport. And I said when I came back up that I'm hoping that we continue to see this healthy rivalry and competition between governors to show working for their state in terms of, oh, we have more resources, oh, we have better infrastructure, because at the end of the day, it benefits us, the citizens.
Absolutely. But one thing I would like for us to also take a look at again is the fact that in as much as we've put infrastructural facilities or things in place, the celebration of these infrastructure, I think we need to really look into it. Currently, we do understand what's happening in Abuja, where the president has been called to ensure that he is part of every single commemoration or every single commissioning, I beg your pardon, of infrastructural development there by the FCT minister. Well, while that might look good and so on, by the way, that's the footage of the Borno State governor yesterday at News Central's town hall series, speaking about the cases that every single incident, everything happening in Borno State. And if in case you missed it, we'll let you know when you can take time to watch again. But for us here at News Central, we're going to have a recap of what happened yesterday at the town hall series. But before we go straight to my thoughts, maybe let's just play you the clip and then you get to hear what the governor had to say, especially from yesterday's town hall series put together by News Central. But we'll take it in terms of a package, maybe.
Okay, yes, we'll take it during the show. But now let's come to our wake-up conversation.
Yeah, let's do that.
And start with Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. She's been in the news for a long time now, and she made some very strong allegations. She alleged sexual assault on the part of the Senate President, an abuse of power, abuse of his position as senator. She alleged that she was being silenced, but it didn't stop there. She also went further to allege that there had been assassination attempts over her life, stating that the instruction was that she should be killed in Kogi State, not anywhere else. Really strong allegations, and these allegations again were made against the Senate President and the former governor of Kogi State, Governor Yahaya Bello. Now, the Nigerian federal government has taken the case to court. She's been asked to appear before the court for a case of defamation. And yesterday, she appeared before the court. You can see her with her husband. And, there are well-wishers and loved ones. She was granted bail. The matter isn't over, but she was granted bail. And to the tune of 50 million naira with one shorty who must be a person of reasonable integrity, resident in the FCT Abuja, and who owns a landed property within the Abuja Municipal Area Council. The trial judge, Justice Chizoba Orji, made a declaration in a ruling after taking arguments for and against the bail application from the parties in the suit. Now, just so you know, there's a 3-count criminal charge. The accused, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, of making defamatory statements against the Senate President Godswill Akpabio during a live television broadcast. The charge also lists Akpabio, the former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello, as nominal complainants, alleging, of course, that Akpoti-Uduaghan claimed Bello had conspired with Akpabio to orchestrate her assassination outside Abuja, disguising it as a mob or local attack. Well, it is a case that will go to court, and this bail application does not mean that the matter has come to an end. You can see our supporters behind. There we have Obi Ezekwesili, we have Aisha Yesufu behind her. I also saw Brandy Peters.
Yes.
I think I saw there's a young lady, I've forgotten her name. I don't know if I even know her name. The lady with the red scarf. She's like, she's an activist as well. You see, Oruche, yes. Precious Oruche also behind. So there's a number of people, activists who have come out to show and lend their support.
Anyway.
And when she was granted the bill, there was a lot of rejoicing.
Well, the drama would continue. We'll continue to see more drama unfold concerning this story because, as we know it, the federal government will not back down. The federal government has said that these are very strong allegations that must be meted with the law and every single arsenal as much as possible. Just recall that a few days ago, there was a bench warrant, and the lawyer representing the federal government had made a request that Natasha should be arrested for not showing up in court, and it was clearly turned down. because the magistrate and they said, no, that you cannot just go and arrest her because we've not sent an invitation yet. And even if we do, you can't just go and arrest her. They turned that bench warrant down, said it's not going to work. So they said, let's wait for the second, which happened yesterday, where they had to come to court. Now, naysayers were hoping that she wouldn't show up. Had it been she didn't show up, maybe we'll see a different drama.
Oh, yeah, no. I think her lawyers will know better.
I didn't mean she didn't show up. Maybe we'll see a different.
I'm glad that she showed up because
exactly, because the
the
drama
advice
would have been, okay. You know, how do they say it in the court of law? Say, my
lord.
My lord. As you can see here, and so on, and then you know the process.
So just so we're clear,
that's it,
right? And I've been very vocal about my position regarding Natasha's claims about abuse of power, abuse of authority by the Senate President. I felt like from the jump, she was treated like the victim, right? No, she wasn't treated like the victim. She was treated like she was the one who had the complaint that was supposed to, quote unquote, be the victim. But instead, it felt like she had to defend herself even after such strong complaints. It reminds me of this case where we had a Tisha Victory, the young girl who was abused and then had to also be defending herself and her family and basically fighting for their freedom. So I was of the view that there had been strong allegations and those allegations needed to have been investigated. And the Senate suspending her looked very much like they were trying to cover things up. So I was of the opinion that these were very strong allegations of sexual abuse. So what should have been done was a thorough investigation should have been carried out. And if that investigation revealed that she was telling a lie, she should be made to face the law because she has defamed them. But if that investigation found that she was telling the truth, then the people who she has accused, the Senate President in this case, should be made to face the law, step down first of all, and then face the law. The problem was even in the way that the Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee had reacted. They said the matter is dead on arrival. The Labour Party man who has now moved to the APC was very vocal about it, spoke against her. So when we speak about that one, I'm not very pleased about how that was handled, even though they say that the reason they suspended her was because of the seat allocation fracas. But it was beyond that. There are ways you can handle this, especially because the Senate President himself had a seat allocation challenge when he was just a member of the House and not the Speaker. And there was wisdom in which they applied wisdom to handle that. That being said, the allegations of assassination are very strong allegations. Very strong. Yeah. If you say someone tried to kill you, you have to be able to prove it, and you have to be ready to prove it. So then courts, I think it's important that everybody brings in. It's important for her to be able to prove this. The law says, and it's not about what we feel in this case, right? He who alleges must prove. So I'm hoping that this case, there's a thorough investigation. It's not flawed. It's not tilted in favor of anybody, right? So that at the end of the day, the law can, the truth will prevail. And if truly, I mean, I've seen videos of people who have allegedly attempted to hurt her. I saw a video of a man that was, I think they said he was trying to break into her house, a herbalist, and they saw charms on him. All these things, I hope that they are investigated. And if we find in the investigation and in the court proceedings that this is connected to the people she has accused, I hope that the law will swing against them in its full effect. But if we then find that there's no connection, then she would have to face the law because those were really strong allegations, and you can't, regardless of how it looks on the outside, those are really strong allegations. You can't sweep on the carpet. Yeah, I mean, there were unknown persons who tried to break into her home after she had decided to use the helicopter to arrive, especially at her home as well. And then before then, we've seen incidences and cases. But another thing we must take note of in this case is the fact that it's not yet Uhuru. It will continue, and we would be certain to ensure that we follow through. Don't forget that she was equally stripped off her security, but in this video you can see that she's gotten her own personal security guards, which of course, if you do not have that, then one will be wondering, how do you move around?
And we must also take note of the man you see there with the hat. That's her husband. He's been strongly...
He's been such a support.
Strongly behind her, following. I mean, so we'll get to find out where this would lead. But that's the update, though, from Natasha.
But just to add again, because I'm not going to overlook this, why there is such public outrage against the fact that she's been tried for defamation, why there's such... Because a number of people would argue that she's made such strong allegations. How can you say someone is trying to kill you if you don't have strong evidence? Then you've tarnished their reputation. But the question is, if she made those allegations and the court decides, and the government decides to take her to court, where was that energy when she made the first set of allegations? When she said that, you know, there was allegation of sexual assault. Yeah. Where was the energy? So when people are asking, why is there public outrage? What is wrong with her supporters? I hope you understand that it feels like selective justice. It feels like the government is throwing its weight behind one party. She's also a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, just like Senator Godswill Akpabio. He's the first among equals. They're all equals in the House. So the agitation of our followers would be, she was the first to make a complaint. Where was this energy when she made her complaint?
Olive, I think these points are very important to note, and at the end of this entire process or entire fracas or entire debacle, name it whatever, we'll get to find the answers at the end of the tunnel. However, just to wrap things up with Natasha before we move to our next story, for me, I think we've set history up for something awaiting. And what do I mean by that? How Natasha's issue or case has been dealt with, we should be ready, because in the future, if anybody in the Senate engages in any act or whatever, the same action that's been meted on Natasha should equally be done to that person, regardless of his person, status, or be it gender.
The question is that...
Why I said so is because...
The way... Okay,
you recall that videos also emerged of the current First Lady while she was in the assembly. I mean, how she acted.
Senator Oluremi Tinubu.
Exactly. And videos emerged. Nigerians went there. I mean, so you see, that's why we said history. And they dug it out and said, look, there's also the case of a former senator as well. What's his name? Elisha Abo as well, where there was a video. You remember all the whole case, the sex toy and everything. And then he came, he was sitting with the committee, and then there was a heated argument, and yet, nothing.
So again, I'll go back to saying that your issue about saying that when they have subsequent issues like this, you hope that the same hand will be dealt to them. My worry is if women, for example, security. Right, if women feel like they have been marginalized, or they feel like their voices are being silenced, or they feel like they've experienced some measure of abuse, what this might do is it will discourage people from speaking up. You know, it will discourage people from being able to say, this is what I'm experiencing. And that's not to say that we know for sure, or we're saying for sure that the Senate President it is. But if somebody makes an allegation, at the very least, investigate. Investigate if you want to say that you prioritize the rights of every senator. Investigate her claims, investigate her complaints, and ensure that the issue is that she brought it up to TV. She came to talk about it in TV. That's not... I don't have a problem with that, because for me it's like, at the end of the day, you can't beat a child and tell the child not to cry. So if she's saying that she was wronged in this way, if she claims that she had, like she did claim, that there was an abuse of power, there was sexual abuse, it's not your responsibility to tell me how to go about it. If I complain about it...
They also tell you that the law that guides the operations...
So you shouldn't go and talk about it outside.
About, I mean, just like the senator who joined us yesterday said, that there's some things that are discussed internally, that you shouldn't take it outside.
But the truth is, if she had discussed this internally, will they have acted any differently? Wouldn't they still have eventually landed in the same way? Some senators did stand up and say that she had called them and told them, you know, but they also aired how they felt. But take note, they also aired it within the chambers, but the media team was there, and they also covered what they were saying. Olive, let's move on. Anyway,
next story. Let's just move on.
Let's move on from. Are we able to take reactions? I think we have.
No, I think we've spent enough time. Let's just go to our next story.
I think the summary of it is we hope that the that truth will prevail.
Yeah.
We hope that justice will prevail. Justice will not be perverted, and that the
Except
truth,
you want to take what they say on X, though.
on X, yeah, that the truth will prevail, and whoever is telling the truth will get justice, and whoever is telling a lie will have the law chasing after them. Let's take some reactions on X. We have this tweet by Peter Aka. Okay, Dr. Abiola Akiode. He says the continued abuse of court processes and harassment of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is a threat to justice, fairness, and democracy. Charges are being hurriedly filed without proper notice, and there was an attempted bench warrant, all in a bid to intimidate her. The injustice must not stand. This is a political trial. Call on the judiciary to come to our rescue and allow justice to reign. An injustice to one is a threat to a million. Senator Natasha will continue to stand firm and is not afraid to appear in court on June 19th and June 30th, 2025. For all we care, justice must prevail.
So that covers pretty much what we said.
Also, Sakri says, Natasha, the goddess of manipulation and lies, eventually arraigned in court. Natasha, if you are unable to provide evidence to your wild, damaging, boundless allegations against Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Yahaya Bello of plotted assassination, human organ harvesting, and the defamation of character you spewed on them, the jail consequence will come striking. The recklessness of carnage, lies, and manipulated, weaponized populism is reprehensible. This is a fight against the injustice of impunity. That's what Chris says. One Pocket says, Nigeria is a very interesting country. Natasha said for seek good advice before going about what she did. There was definitely a smart way to go about all what she went about that won't put her in this situation now. And another tweet from Ominik says, Omink, I have never seen Nigeria in this level of shamelessness, lack of rule of law, and gross abuse of office. President Tinubu, get hold of leadership. You were shouting, it's my turn. Now it's your turn. What are you doing with your turn? This is not certainly the people's turn, but your turn. And this one says, points to note, both are not equal. Natasha bought a senatorial nomination form and she was voted by her people, while Akpabio didn't buy the form. Ooh, shots fired. And no one voted for him. Natasha is more of a senator than him. And these are some of the reactions that we've seen on X to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's issue with the Nigerian Senate. But let's move on to
our next wake-up conversation on a Friday. It's a conversation that's also been on social media as well. This time, it's got to do with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu during the commissioning of some very laudable projects, as it were, in Kano State. Videos started circulating yesterday, and it showed that the youths in Kano were not in any way satisfied, happy, or excited to have the president in their state. What they did was they went around town ensuring that they tore down billboards, designs, backdrops, printed materials that had the president's welcome message, and they shared their dissatisfaction with what the APC has done. But then again, let's take a look at the video. Well, that's the video there. The youths embarking on a destruction spree. In other words, trying to show their dissatisfaction to have the president in their state. Don't forget to yesterday, another clip circulated that showed while the president was
in Benue State. And the APC flags that were allegedly...
No. Yesterday, while he was commissioning, while he was also talking.
Okay. I thought you were talking about
someone purportedly was said to be running towards the president.
And he said, leave him.
And there was a little startle, and the security operative,
he really comported himself very well.
Everybody comported themselves. I mean, the security officers are there, strong men. And then they stood up, and then he said, leave him, and all that. But we will not leave him. That's our president. Don't rush to him. Be careful. Be very careful. That's the word. I mean, from us. When we, why are you running to? Who are you? You know, you want to greet the president, wait. There are protocols to these things. But in general, the North is telling a different story that also shows that 2027 is not looking too clear, especially in the North. Remember that a few days ago, during the APC summit, you had a little brouhaha that indeed snowballed into fire. And then people were throwing chairs. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but whenever I see that video, I don't know if we could put it up, there's a particular guy I always look at in that video. I don't know how, I don't know where he got that cheer from.
Is that adrenaline?
You know, somewhere. But then again, it's not that we're celebrating violence or whatever. No, we're not. But we're just saying that the North is showing different, is showing different colors. Colors of, okay, either we're not with you, colors of, oh, it's either you go with the vice president, and even if we're still not certain we want to go with you, and then colors of, listen, you have no room here. So it should be a cause of concern. I'm sure when the president is done with his commissioning from different states, he might have to sit back and possibly call on the northern governors and have a discussion on the way forward. I
certainly believe it's a potpourri of these things that you've spoken, as well as other things. We can't deny the fact that the general sentiment is that there is some measure of dissatisfaction because of the economic realities that the average Nigerians have to deal with. While the numbers, you know, they will speak to you about the numbers and improvement in inflation rate and all of that. And every time we have guests on the show, we talk about it. NBS is releasing statistics. They're telling you that, oh, inflation dropped. We're excited about the numbers. We've stopped the bleeding. In another couple of months, we should start to see some measure of progress. But I think the average Nigerians just want to be able to experience a better quality of life. They don't want to be buying a bag of rice for however much they're buying it now. They want things to revert, if not so exactly as they were before the current administration, but at least close to what it was. So I think it's just a general sense of dissatisfaction in terms of the economic realities. Also, there's a political colorations to some of these things that we see, like you mentioned. Yeah. Are you going to not really disenfranchise the North? Why are you keeping us out? Because your party has endorsed you, but they haven't endorsed our VP, even though that had then been corrected.
Yes.
But again, all this reminds us that we're already in campaign season. It's already politics.
You know, I can't wait. Oh, sorry to bother. I can't wait for the next guest we're going to have from the current ruling APC, because it's a question I would always want to ask, and I'm going to ask with all authority and sincerity is what I expect from their answers. Like I said, when we had a guest from the party and we asked them, it's like governance has stopped, focus has been, and they screamed, no, don't say that. But we also saw the president in his speech in Benue State, while they were wailing, he still slipped in the political story, statements and so on, which in one way or the other continues to highlight the fact that, listen, it's either we are in a political season already, which, by the way, to our viewers, defies the law that comes from the Independent National Electoral Commission.
As to when campaigns should officially
start campaign, but we're starting to see campaigns. And we mentioned to them that why are billboards up and running?
But who put the billboards?
Now, this was the response we got. Let me tell you the response. If my mind serves me well, this was just last week, and the guest said, oh, when the president is doing a good job, people who appreciate him will go ahead to celebrate him. So they are celebrating. And we're like, really? It's fine if you celebrate someone. I mean, we've seen the front pages of newspapers where they put the president and say, oh, well done, we celebrate you. But it had to do with the fact that it was Democracy Day, and then they celebrated the president. But just putting up posters is quite different from putting billboards. And we saw the billboard in Abuja, the big one, the president and his wife, and so on and so forth. Now, this is where we come to state that again. I think, and I'm going to say this, Mr. President should take time to watch Breakfast Central. Okay?
It's the plug-in for me. I love it.
Yes, and just listen to what we're saying. We're just tabling, we're trying to balance these stories, Mr. President. Let's do it for you. Let's do it for your team. It doesn't matter if your SSA will tell me or any other person that works here or any other journalist that, listen, I was a journalist before you were born. I agree. That's fine. But it doesn't mean that you have all the wisdom. Because take note, when those billboards were being put up, there has been no press release or even statement from the president debunking and saying, I understand that, okay, Olive, take a look at this. If the president said this, I understand that you people appreciate the work I've been doing. And I've been seeing your messages, your well wishes in the newspaper, on the billboards and so on. While I thank you so much for what you think I am doing, please don't detract or distract why we're here, which is governance. Let's give the people what we came to do. And I will advise that you please pause until we get to elections.
I hear you, and I can
in
see
that
where
way,
you're
the president
coming
has
from.
singled himself out and his team, and you and I or every other Nigerian will not be saying, oh, they're not focused on governance.
I see you and I hear where you're coming from, but if we put forth that argument and stand by it, there are those who will say, I hope that argument will apply when we go to River State, because at the time when Siminalayi Fubara hadn't said anything about those who were protesting in support of him, they said his silence means that he approves of the protest and that he's behind the protest. And even here on the show, we talked about it and many people criticized it, saying, no, he can't. The fact that he hasn't spoken about it does not mean that he's behind the protest and he's encouraging people. So you see, it's really a double-edged sword.
When it goes to River State too, I be honest, I stand on that too.
Okay, but I really want us to talk about story 3. Before they will tell us that we're out of time.
We're out of time.
No, we are not out of time. A wake-up conversation, our third conversation is about how a pastor allegedly rejected the sum of 30 million naira donation from the Kebbi state government. Let's take a look at this video. Okay, while we're trying to sort out, the issues with that clip, I do believe that there's meant to be a clip about Pastor Paul Enenche and how they had tried to make a 30 million naira donation. Yes, let's...
Anyway, the story is, while we're trying to get that video up and running for our viewers, there was a meeting, or better still, the pastor and, of course, a representative from Kebbi State had decided to donate 30 million naira. This conversation had sparked a lot of tweets and reactions, especially on social media. Now, when they decided to make this donation to the pastor as a goodwill, the pastor clearly rejected it.
With wisdom.
No. With wisdom, he said no, and he rejected it. Why are we taking this story? Well, there are two sides to the coin. The governor was trying to show his appreciation and say we're going to support, the cause and whatever you are doing that is good for the people. On the other hand, the man of God in quotes said, no, don't worry, we don't need the money. However, we will be able to provide this money as well for the good cause that we're carrying out. And social media, of course, went agog with the fact that, oh, wow, he rejected the money, and some said, oh, he shouldn't have rejected it, and some said, oh, it's taxpayers' money. It was good that he rejected it, and so on and so forth.
Okay, we'll come back to still talk about it, but let's take a look at this video.
What we did tonight, what transpired, is what our life is. We are one of those who believe that government money should be used for government projects and government things. It should be used for government things. Yes. And church money should be used for church things. Not mixed together. That is what we did. That is what we do. As small as the Glory Dome is right there, that multi, I don't know whether it's multi, whatever. One shishi of government money is not in it. Yes, one shishi. From the purchase of the land to the building to everything.
So Pastor Paul Enenche, first of all, is one who is a very strong voice. When you talk about certain pastors who have very strong political views, very strong opinions, Pastor Paul Enenche is one of them. And there have been times when he's been criticized a few times, right? But then I think that this has gotten a lot of applause. And I think that it's important that we talk about this, because oftentimes people always would criticize pastors and say that, pastors are looking for opportunity to do this. They are talking about money, this one, that one, that one. They don't even realize how much work and I'm not saying that there aren't pastors who try to, quote unquote, exploit or extort, but the church has done a lot of work in terms of giving support to its members and showing support for its citizens. I mean, it's church members. So I do think that this is an important story to highlight, and I'm very, very, glad and proud to applaud what he has done and to make reference to that, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear. What he's simply done is to make it known to the public that, listen, we're not going to take your money. And in the video, we saw his response that the money, government money, is meant for the people. I don't know how many
projects.
I don't know how many persons or his colleagues in court will agree with that is meant for the people, or what they would say behind closed doors. But while we're taking that story, like we rightly said, it's trending on social media. Everyone is talking about it. Some are saying it's for the good. Some are saying that, well, they don't believe, and so on. So there are mixed reactions. But whatever it is, many, in terms of what we've done, looking at the higher responses, many have applauded the fact that he rejected that money. So who else would reject government money? But we've also seen governors climb the pulpit, and some have said after they are going, oil will rub hands or touch hands. We don't know. But then again, he's made it clear that he's not part of that. Anyway, that's all we're going to take on Wake Up Conversations. There's a lot to talk about here on Breakfast Central. If you're not following us on all socials, please do so. And today, we'd like to dedicate more time to read your comments. So feel free to drop a comment or two. And when the phone lines open at 9 a.m., please dial the number and drop your contribution, okay? Well, let's go straight to what we have today on the show. Let's bring to you our top stories for today on Breakfast Central. Today on Breakfast Central on a Friday, Senate probes NNPCL over missing funds. Did you hear the amount and then the excuse that was given?
210 million.
INEC rejects PDP NEC meeting notice. We do have two strong representatives, or you could say PDP members joining us. Rivers Sole Administrator appoints electoral umpire. Ooh. Wike to name, shame, ground rent defaulters.
Get in other words, only basic people.
And newspaper front pages where you can call in, as I rightly said. Stay with us. The show starts in a moment.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. The Senate Committee on Public Accounts has probing major irregularities in the audited financial statements of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL. They say there's unverified receivables between 2017 and 2023, summing up to over 200 trillion naira. At the Senate's hearing on Wednesday, Committee Chairman Senator Ali Wadada criticized the lack of supporting documents for enormous legal and audit fees, calling the financial records troubling and contradictory. NNPCL's Chief Financial Officer, Dr. Shegun, appeared before the committee but failed to address key discrepancies. The Senate has issued 11 queries to the company's finance team demanding full explanations within 1 week. While we wait to hear back from the NNPC in the next week, we're now joined by Professor of Petroleum Economics, Wumi Iledari, to discuss this development. Good morning, Prof. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you, and good morning to you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. 200 trillion naira in unclear receivables reported by NNPCL. For over 6 years, we were seeing no documentation for massive legal and audit-related payments. How did we get here, and how is this just being discovered in 2025?
Well, again, thank you. We're looking at 2017 to 2023. And if you look at in the United States, NNPC was of a public institution. And there is more or less a transparency and accountability issue. And then if you take your mind back to 2016 to 2018, that was some of the reason why there was need to have the industrial reform. Transparency was a challenge at that particular time because NNPC was more or less like a cash cow of the federal government. Then fast forward, you have the PIA, we call it PILB 2018B, which is actually the foundation of the current Chapter 2 of the PIA. We call it Governance and Institution Bill in that 2018. It was not signed by the president, but that was the basis. Now, NNPC they move from being a public institution to a commercial institution. And that's what we see in the last 2 or 3 years. They have become a little bit more transparent and accountable. What you saw before was fiscal responsibility, fiscal absence of fiscal transparency. And of course, you have the government and the National Assembly to blame. But now in the dispensation, they are trying to be accountable, transparent, and then to be fiscally responsible. So I would not like us to more or less sensationalize news, because NNPC has been the punching bag over the years, but they are evolving in trying to be commercial. Yes, they are basically still a public institution, but not a public agency, because the PI does not require them to submit what we call operational surplus anymore. Number two, they are not submitted the budget to the National Assembly to approve. But they are not governed by the Fiscal Responsibility Act. But it's going to take a while. Nonetheless, they are still managing the oil and gas wealth of the nation. So the National Assembly still has the right to call them if they are doing anything that have impact on the national economy. So they are right, but I don't want us to sensationalize news. I'm not defending them, but I want things to be properly put in place to understand what is going on. 200 trillion naira is a lot of money, but there are two things we need to pay attention to: the joint venture cash call and the joint venture disbursement. Give them the benefit of the doubt as they emerge to become a commercial institution that they are supposed to be, keeping in mind that they are now governed by the Petroleum Industry Act, which we must allow to play its normal course. And I'm sure we're going to talk more about issues that will help them to be more accountable, transparent, and responsible in managing the national wealth.
I mean, that's why when we had this conversation, I mean, we couldn't have thought of any other person to bring on to break this conversation down other than you, sir. But I'd like us to look at this, and I would like your expertise in better explaining it the best way possible, so that our viewers can get a glimpse and Nigerians can fully understand the weight of these headlines. When the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, was invited, I'm talking about Mr. Didapo Shegun, he did go ahead before the Senate committee to state that 103 million and 107 trillion made up the joint venture cash calls that have been requested by JV operators, and don't forget to JV cash call payments by NNPCL. So we'd like you to do this for us. Please, can you explain to us the joint venture, how it applies to this case, the best way possible, so that we can really fully understand the intent from the NNPCL and why this is making the news as well?
Well, thank you again. Let's look at the concept of petroleum fiscal arrangement, which is more or less of putting together the instrument for extracting petroleum rent. Now, when we talk about joint venture from a petroleum fiscal arrangement point of view, you are looking at a relationship between we call them the host government, which is the federal government of Nigeria, and the international companies. And joint venture then is a situation which, for the Nigerian case, which probably started in I think 1967, where the government owns 60% share or arrangement, and the international company on average 40%, until the government nationalized the British petroleum component of the Shell BP. So in Shell joint venture, the government has less than 60%. So on average in Nigeria, for a joint venture operation, if the cost of the business is $100, Nigerian government, through NNPC now that we have PIA, we have to put about $58 of every $100 spent to develop, produce, and operate the petroleum asset in Nigeria under a joint venture arrangement. When we look at the other aspect, we call it contractual agreement. That's the PSC. The government doesn't spend money, but the government surrender a portion of whatever oil that is produced to finance the exploration, development, production, and operation of a PSC. So that's the problem. So every year, there's what we call the Joint Operating Agreement Committee that will meet in the concessionary agreement that you have a joint venture participation with the government. NNPC is the one managing that arrangement on behalf of the government. And when we talk about cash call, if the government spends $200 million, I mean, if the joint venture operation committee spend $200 million, government is supposed to pay the companies 58%. Whatever money that is spent every year to develop joint venture assets in Nigeria. And that's a lot of money. Sometimes the government may not have the money. And that's why you get the idea of a joint venture cash call. And that's, they become accumulated. And quite often it could be very significant amount of money. And recently, I think the NNPC Limited, especially in the last 2 years, are doing their best to pay off some of the backlog. And so when you look at this report, I've not seen the report, but I'm just explaining the oil and gas accounting purposes. You have account receivables and you have account payable. Listen, I'm explaining for what you say.
Absolutely. You're doing very well. You're doing very well.
Yeah. So what you see is that you have account receivable, you have account payable. It is incorrect to add the two of them together as something that is missing. They are two different things. It's not less when you do capitalization, when you want to pay tax, and you are going to capital allowance, you deduct it. But then when you are going to calculate your cash surplus, you add it back to it. Listen, I'm not looked at the report, but I'm just explaining the concept to you. Sensationalize this reporting too much. The representation of the chief financial officer. And listen, if you are confronted the way we are confronted, the tendencies for you not to be able to explain yourself. So if you look at the dynamics of Nigeria, you have to be careful. But I think this is simple. Government owes the international company money because check the cash call. They have to pay. Unfortunately, the government is spending all the money that they make out of the oil industry. NNPC, in my opinion, is the chin bag instead of the National Assembly doing their work. I'm sorry to say, they are the ones who allow this. They confirm 10 people to be in charge of ministerial portfolio without drilling them. Then they have them to bow. We don't even have a substantive Minister of Petroleum who is supposed to be the driver of the oil and gas industry.
So you don't recognize the president's position as the Minister of Petroleum in this case?
No, I don't want to divert. You can come back and talk about that later. I want to mention that in two conditions in the Constitution of Nigeria, as they look at all the posts in ministerial positions there, and please, Tinubu has never declared himself the Minister of Petroleum. I haven't seen it. He has never called himself the Minister of Petroleum. Well, these are the issues the National Assembly should pay attention to instead of digging sensational news without having understanding of the concept of joint venture.
Thank you.
Okay, so now let's speak about, what the next steps are. The National Assembly has given them 7 days ultimatum. What do you think happens, within the next 7 days? What do you expect to happen after the next 7 days?
Well, I don't think it as an issue. No. Officials of the NNPC, yes, they've inherited whatever issues that were there, should be judged from the time they assume office, whether they are becoming transparent or accountable. Listen, I'm not here to defend NNPC, because I think they have other issues that are more important than sensational news. In fact, and I'm going to answer your question, I really look at the PIA that the director should be talking to, even though they can call these people to testify. The director of NNPC Limited, the chairman of the board of directors, the chairman then that will invite the management team of NNPC to come and talk to them. So we cannot be selective in the way we interpret the PIA. We are picking and choosing. If I'm advising NNPC Limited, I'll get experts as witness to look at what. I'm not making myself available to them. I'm just telling you because I'm not to speak as an independent, not because I'm benefiting from anyone. Get experts to explain to the National Assembly if they are willing to listen. And that's why we try our best to educate the committees looking at the oil and gas industry for several years. Unfortunately, they change them as if they are changing suit in the process. Managing the oil and gas sector is not, it cannot be based on ad hoc, because it's a long-term approach to developing your wealth for sustainable economic development. Yes, NNPC should explain the joint venture. It says that it's not difficult. What is the capex? What is the apex? We spend for each of the assets. Well, we have reviewed them. We have paid the joint venture partner for the work they have done over this period of time. We have paid them. I mean, if an external auditor can certify a report, I think the politicians will get experts to look at it and even be the one to educate them first before they confront the NNPC limit. And I want to talk about experts. I'm talking about people calling themselves experts without understanding of the governing the oil and gas sector. We need to think about competence. We are fortunate now that you have an NNPC board, even though there are still certain things I disagree with, that is technically competent to run. They are just there for maybe less than 6 months. Give them a chance, ask them questions without sentimentalism. You are creating a problem for a corporation that wants to go to the public. And at the end of it, you will see nothing will come out of this 200 trillion, because in my opinion, it's something that is technically explainable. You are serious. Particularly, get out joint venture. It's beyond what you do, what you people are saying that that's business is not a business.
All right.
Ask them questions, I'm sure that they will deliver it. Deliver it, then you follow the process.
Okay, so we've taken some key pointers in this very short conversation that we are going to have. You've highlighted and explained the joint venture and how it works. Of course, ensuring that the NNPC is cut some slack, whether we like it or not. And then you've also highlighted the need for the Senate or the Assembly to ensure that they get the employment of professionals who really and truly understand the oil and gas sector. Permit me to use the word not mediocres, who would hide under the guise of being energy consultants or experts. So, I mean, I think we've taken that into heart. But my final question to you as we look to wrap up this conversation would be, Nigeria is going through a case of, dormancy. There's a case of what we call illegal waste, or better still, legal waste. And many have tagged it as a farce. I'm talking about the Port Harcourt refinery in Enenche River State. I'm sure you're one of those who equally took the news the bittersweet way when they said it had started working in November 2024. Currently, we're back to moribund situation. It's been shut down for repairs. What's your take on the announcement that was made a few months back, particularly in November, that the Port Harcourt refineries is back and running, and yet we've gone back to a state of comatose? Are we Are we ever going to hold the perpetrators to account? And just share us your thoughts as well.
Again, thank you. Listen, if a refinery is going to be profitable, there are two things that are important. One is the price of crude oil. Two, the capacity utilization of the refinery. What we had before, when you say it's operational, is underutilizing the crude that you put in. And the normal thing for commercial institutions to look at, if I'm putting barrels into my refinery, and I'm not getting more than 100 barrels in value, then there's value destruction. And to me, that's what they have seen. Now, we have to remember that refinery is old. Technology has evolved. And the yield from the refinery is so important to have profitable margin. So this is limited in number. I think, wow, we need to evaluate our investment to see whether value is added or not. Again, you can say that I'm talking idealism, but that is the way the business is run. You don't destroy value when you are making investment decision, and that's what you've done. I will not expect professionals to come and declare that a refinery that has not worked for many years is now working. That would be a lie. That would be professionally unethical. And I try to get as much opinion from people to see, is it really working? Yes, but the utilization rate is too low to continue to operate it. And that's why they have to shut it down. Maybe to have a refinery that was built in 1890-something, and it's still working. If you go to the US, I think since 1976, nobody has built a new refinery. So you keep building them. The lifespan on a refinery project is renewable. It's not like drilling a well. You just like sensationalism, things that don't matter, instead of paying attention to things that matters, that will make the street to get a job. Give them a benefit of a doubt. They are professionals. They are professional ethics. Don't make Nigerian professionals look as if they are not for anything. Listen, I just stand there for somebody from the place because it thinks there's a value can derive from it. That's the way Nigerians should be scouting for professionals instead of condemning them. And I want to quickly take time to talk about Dangote and the marketers about listen. You had a monopoly for many years with NBC and sold a better petroleum product. Not adding finally 650,000 barrels per day tripled, pushing to have a 90% utilization rate. And if the refinery is applying a vertical integration approach to reduce cost, improve efficiency, and reduce the price. We are afraid of it. If you not marry, you know what you are going to do with your wife, 30 years from America. You don't think I'm married, and your children not married. Let the fear of the drive you crazy. You have that have authority to make sure that anti-competitive behavior is illegal. Yes, there's fear of the possibility of dominance of Dangote in the downstream sector. For now, competition is what we want in the downstream sector. And Dangote is offering that. The regulators must just step up the plate to make sure that the anti-competitive behavior is the objective of the PI competitive downstream sector. Please, come to this industry. Look for competent hands to manage it. Otherwise, value will continue to be destroyed. After 60 years, we are still struggling. The economy like the Middle East, economy like Saudi Arabia, and the capacity to do that is there. Where was China in 1992 compared to Nigeria?
All right.
Let us read the cost of governance and stop this fishing for sensational news.
All right.
And I'm saying,
Professor Umi Iledari, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. I'm sure that the Senate is paying attention. In another few days, I think 6 days now, we'll know what the next steps are regarding this matter. But thank you for your time with us this morning. It's always a delight to have you.
there's always any time for public education. But I speak for myself, not for any institution that
We
I
completely
belong.
understand that. Thank you for pointing that out.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful rest
Yes.
of the day, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, away from the story concerning Nigeria's oil and gas sector, let's move on to another one. The recent appointment into the board of River State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIC, by the River State Sole Administrator has sparked mixed reactions from the political class and residents. While the commissioner's establishment is aimed at conducting free, fair and credible local government elections in River State, opinions are divided on the implications of the chairman's state of origin. News Central's Beulah Festus has more in this report.
Upon his appointment as the administrator of River State, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas dissolved the Electoral Commission established by the suspended Governor Similala Yefubara and appointed a new board. About 2 months later, President Bola Tinubu forwarded names of the new appointees to the Senate for screening and confirmation, a move that generated diverse opinions among the people of River State.
The National Assembly is trying to foist illegality on the people of River State. So they shouldn't accept, that nomination. The whole thing is entirely, foundationally illegal. So the primary thing is that it is a governor that has the power to appoint. The executive in Rivers State has been captured illegally by the removal of the governor and the House of Assembly. The judiciary, we believe, has also been captured. INEC is also another body that has been captured. So it's not a democracy.
However, many Rivers people are uncomfortable with the appointment of a non-indigene, citing concerns about representation and potential bias.
The appointment of a non-Rivers man as a research chairman is an insult to Rivers State. It shows that Rivers State is finished. Rivers State does not exist again. Rivers State is gone. There are no men in Rivers State. Nobody is there again in Rivers State. It's a pity that Rivers State will come to that point, but God save us.
If the president or federal government could suspend the sitting governor, an elected governor, is it the RISEC chairman that's coming to conduct the election that will be the problem? No. And anyone that wants to participate, any party, is left for him or left for the party to do that.
The opportunity we give to Tinubu, he has misused the opportunity. We have so many people that would have handled that position. So, but I don't know why everything is happening like this, but all the same, we don't like it.
Meanwhile, some political actors see the potential benefits of an external body conducting the local government election, citing possibilities for neutrality and credibility in the electoral process.
What we want is the process of democracy to continue to thrive, especially at the grassroots level. People are suffering at the local government level now because there is no proper representation at the local government level. So if they are bringing somebody who is not from River State to make sure that local governments get their proper representation in the scheme of things, it's a welcome development. We are in support of it. We just want things to move on in the state.
Our governor is not there now in the seat. So if other parties can come up, because why I say so is because of the sufferings is too much on people. If you look, they are not paying salaries, and so if other parties will come up so that the representative can take over, so that they will start paying people salary.
In a swift reaction, others seem to have resigned to fate, feeling that the president's influence over the state's affairs is inevitable.
They plan to conduct local government election. Whether it is legal or illegal, they don't care. All they know is that they want to take charge of the structure. They want to be in charge of anything called structure in Rivers State. The president and his team, they have planned to hijack Rivers State. Rivers State does not belong to Rivers people anymore. Rivers State belongs to the president, Akpabio, and Wike.
It remains to be seen how several political parties in Rivers State would accept the composition of the board into the state's independent electoral commission, with the local council polls expected to be conducted in August this year. Time will tell. In Rivers State, for News Central, Biola Festus.
Only time will tell. Great job there by Biola Festus. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we have more stories as we kick into the second hour here on Breakfast Central. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has rejected the notice of the People's Democratic Party's 100th National Executive Committee meeting, citing procedural non-compliance. The PDP had scheduled its NEC meeting for June 30th, but INEC says the notice was invalid because it was signed only by the acting national chairman, Umar Damagum, without the co-signature of the national secretary as required by the 2022 regulations and guidelines for political parties.
Well, here's where it gets murky. The PDP is in the middle of a bitter internal crisis over who the legitimate national secretary is. Is it Senator Samuel Anyanwu who left to contest the Imo governorship and lost? Or is it Sunday Udeokwe, nominated by the Southeast Caucus in his absence? INEC reportedly still recognizes Anyanwu, citing a Supreme Court judgment. Is INEC simply enforcing the rules, or is this further escalating the party crisis? Well, joining us for today's discussion are members of the People's Democratic Party. We have Nnamdi Dixon Urebu and Austin Usman Okai. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Austin, my brother, from that end.
All right. Gentlemen, this refusal, how do you interpret it? Would you say that this is maybe in line with the fact that, first of all, you can see that there is some measure of confusion regarding who the national secretary is? Or would you say that this is some maybe political overreach? How do you interpret this? I'll start with you, Mr. Nnamdi Dixon Urebu.
And thank you for the opportunity. First, there is no confusion. The People's Democratic Party has only one national secretary, and his name is Senator Samuel Nnemeka Anyanwu. That is who was elected national secretary at the convention. The convention is the highest arm of the organization called PDP is the convention. And at that convention, the national secretary alongside other executive offices were elected. And there's a constitutional provision for how long they will stay or how they will be removed, in the case as captured, well captured in our constitution. But somehow, because of inordinate ambition, if you may, or whatever that we have 10 left now, 10 governors of PDP, whatever their issues were, particularly as engineered by their colleague, the governor of Enugu State, that is Peter Mba. He is the one behind all of this. And this shows clearly how politically naive he is, because even though he's a governor, he doesn't understand the processes of, running a political party. You don't just take out anybody elected by all Nigerians. The office of National Secretary is not elected by any zone, but elected by all members of the party from all parts of Nigeria. And this happened at the convention. So nobody, no zone, no individual, no group of people, by any means whatsoever, can oust any member of the executive arm of the PDP. Because PDP is a democratic party. This is a party deliberately set up to engineer and re-engineer the state of the Nigerian state. That is our nationhood, because Nigeria is not a nation yet. For Nigeria to be a nation, we must give every zone and every citizen that sense of ownership of the nation. And that is what PDP is playing. When they went to court in Enugu, that is here, the Enugu state governor, alongside his group, that is, of course, led by the former national chairman of the party Southeast, Ali Udefa in this case, who is no more a member of the party, but came and deceived the sitting governor of Enugu State. And they formed that very opinion of theirs that they could replace Sam Anyanwu, and that what is his crime? That he sought to become governor of Imo State. It is not a crime. And the constitution of the party has provision well written out how that it is optional for any executive member who aspires to vie for any elective office in Nigeria. There are procedures, and the procedure is simple. It's provided in section 47.5, which says that that executive member may choose to resign. So it is optional. It's not compulsory. And in this case, it would have been compulsory if he got elected and got sworn in as governor. But he didn't get it here. And he came back, and we have had instances of executive members of the party who, like the current governor of Taraba State, he was at that time chairman of PDP, at the state level when he sought to become governor. He was still occupying that office until he got sworn in. Our current deputy national publicity secretary sought to become governor of Kebbi State, that is Ibrahim Abdullahi, sought to become governor of Kebbi State. He didn't get it. He reverted to his position, which he is currently occupying, that is the office of deputy publicity secretary. So what crime did Sam Anyanwu commit here? He became something messy, like I said, the governor of Enugu State, who is the brain behind it, alongside the governor of Oyo State, they are the people directly responsible in this confusion in the party. There's nothing wrong with PDP. PDP is not confused. PDP is not at war. PDP is not dead, and PDP will not die. Rather, we have some very few elements amongst us who got drunk with power and think they can independently remove and replace any member of the National Working Committee. That is not what PDP constitution, says. We are not like APC. We are not like other political parties owned by individuals. The president or the leader of APC can decide at any time to remove anybody, but not in PDP. PDP is a political party owned by the Nigerian people. And the mission of the party is to activate and re-engineer the nationhood of Nigeria. We are the only party positioned for the good of the nation.
Mr. Rekbo, I'd like to bring in Mr. Okai into the conversation as well and find out if he also is of the opinion that you've shared and if he agrees with that same thought process regarding the confusion with concerning who the national secretary is. I know you say there isn't a confusion, but we've seen multiple court judgments. There have been court judgments that have supported Samuel Anyanwu. We've seen the Supreme Court, of course, saying that Ude Okoye, and then we've seen the Supreme Court saying this is a party affair. So we have seen different reactions. Let's hear from Mr. Okai, if he agrees with you, if he shares same thoughts.
Good morning. Are you with me?
Yes, we are. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Austin. Go ahead.
The studio there is someone that I respect so much. But unfortunately, I am disappointed at what he is saying. Saying that the PDP is not confused, saying there is no crisis in the party, saying some few elements think they can remove and this. Now he mentions the governor of Enugu State. We are talking of the party with the history. One, there is a serious crisis in the party. Two, the members of the party are confused. You can see the mass decamping across 36 states of Nigeria. Just 2 days ago, the former vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the former governor of Kaduna State, the former vice president to Goodluck Jonathan left, and he was yesterday in Kaduna, even receiving President Tinubu. What am I saying in a sense is simple. It's simple. The positions of the party that he says he belongs to the people. The Southeast executives of the PDP held a meeting in Enugu. And they came up with resolution nominating a replacement for His Excellency Oga Sam Anyang, the National Secretary of the party. What is he expected of him to do? There is a vote of no confidence passed on him already by the zone he is representing, which is Southeast. And the norms and tradition of the PDP shows any state that...
Are you there? Oh, well, seems Mr. Okai's network is not very clear. Okay, go ahead, if you can hear us. Go ahead, go ahead.
The positions of the party is simple. The positions of the party is simple. Once the governor is there, the governor takes the positions of the leadership. And where there is no governor, the former governor takes over the leadership position. In Enugu, they attack Enugu Southeast. The governor of Enugu State takes the position of PDP leadership. Therefore, is recognized by the party as the leaders of the PDP in Southeast. You can't take that away from there. Two, another powerful organs of the party, apart from NWC, National Executive Council, is governors' forums. My friend in the studio there know of it. I'm neither for Anyang nor against him. But we are talking about reality here and the party that is facing crisis. The governor of Enugu happened to be the leaders. The PDP Governors Forum held several in Taraba State, in Ibadan State, adopted, and they came up with a consensus that the two people aggrieved parties should step aside, where it was unanimously adopted the positions of the Deputy National Secretary to take over the position. Yes, why is Sam Anyang still imposing himself on the party? That is the problem. There has been series of meetings where they said he should step aside. What is it? Yes, he has a constitutional tenure limit. And just as he quoted as 47, Article 47 of the PDP Constitution, the option of resignation is not a must. He may choose to and he may not. But he went for the governor. And while in the race for governorship, his own zone take another decisions. So if there is anybody Sam Anyang should blame, it should be his zone. Not it. As it stands now, the party is having a serious crisis. They cannot hold a NEC meeting. INEC is still recognizing Sam Anyang. So what is the way forward? Now that he said he's not resigning, what do we do? That should be what we should discuss. Because I can tell you authoritatively, with INEC recognizing Sam Anyang, there's nothing PDP will do without INEC, without Sam Anyang in it, that will be bind on anybody. You can't do any internal affair without umpire, which is INEC. And INEC is a supervisory body of any political activities, internally or externally. And now that we're having this quagmire, saying that the party is not having an issue, that shows we are being economical with the truth. And that is not the reality. There's a serious crisis within our party, and we must accept that fact. And Sam Anyang zone came up that he is to be replaced, and there's nothing we can do about it. He made mentions of the Taraba governor, the common governor, yes, but the Southeast did not come up with the option. The Southeast do not complain. The Northeast, where he's coming from, do not complain. The Taraba state that he was the chairman of the party never raised a complaint. But here we have a complaint raised from the Southeast, the zone that nominated Oga Sam Anyang as a national secretary of the party. So in this case, there is a problem. The party is in quagmire. There is a crisis, and that is the reality of ground. The members have lost confidence. If you that is talking to me as a journalist, I can tell you that I'm not the only person you contacted. You must have called so many people yesterday to come and speak for PDP who turned it down. That is the realities on ground. The party is having a problem, and the earlier we wake up to resolve it, the better it is. It was agreed that there should be national conventions in August. Now the convention cannot hold because the NEC meeting that's supposed to ratify it, the INEC has rejected the NEC meeting. So what else? What else? So there's a crisis.
Okay.
This is we're starting to see, even here in the studio, it's quite worrisome that, the two respected gentlemen, that is the both of you who are here with us, it seems that there's even a disagreement between yourselves on the direction of the party. But let me ask you, Mr. Iriobu, looking at the NEC meeting, which is supposed to take place soon, is it ever going to happen? Because from INEC's portal, they still recognize one person as the secretary. And if you're sending a document to request for the NEC meeting and there's no signature of the secretary, of course, it will not hold. So how do you move from here? That's my question.
Yes, before you respond to that question, let's go on a very quick break. And when we come back, we'll have Mr. Arebu respond to that before we bring in other guests. Please stay with us.
Thanks for staying with us. Two PDP members join us on this very, very interesting conversation concerning the NEC, the NEC meeting, which should have held or should hold, apparently, very, very soon, particularly the 30th of June. But it seems like there are internal processes, or you'd say a wrangle that's ongoing in the PDP. Well, let me bring our guests back again on the air. We do have two PDP members joining us, Nnamdi Dixon Iriobu, and of course we also have Mr. Austin Usman Okai. Right before the break, Austin had broken down that the reasons why he thinks that Senator Sam Anyanwu should remain the secretary of the PDP, regardless of whether he went for a political office. After all, he stated the reasons that are enshrined in the constitution of the political party, which is the PDP, that he may, that word may. So let me go back to you this time for your reaction, Mr. Austin Usman Okai. It's obvious that even if the secretary went for a political office, it clearly states that he may choose to come back, and then INEC still looks and views Mr. Samuel as the #1 secretary for the political party, the PDP. Where do we go from here? Is there any reason why the NEC meeting should not hold?
Went on break, the question was for me, and I thought it was for me to come back.
Yes,
absolutely. It's for you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So first off, thank you. Austin is my friend and comrade brother. And we are politicians, both of us. And in my language, politics is called ndorondoro chichi. That is, you pull your side, I pull my side. It's not a fight. What he has done is that he's pulling his own side. But it's important for us to put this record straight. There is something called the constitution of the party. That's our grand norm. That's what guides us, why we play whatever politics we want to play. Now, the point is that that constitution, like I said, the highest organ in that party, in the constitution of the party, is the convention. And at the convention, people are elected. And that is where the national secretary was elected. For him to be removed, either by northeast, northwest, southeast, or southwest, or whatever, they have to come back through the process as captured in the constitution. So he cited, I'm from the southeast, he cited that the people of Southeast have said that, that they don't want Sam Anyanwu anymore. Okay, they have a right to that. Not everybody will like your face. They have a right, a few people have a right to say what they want to say about Sam Anyanwu. But there's a process. So if the Southeast Caucus is constitutionally convened and they take a position on Sam Anyanwu, fine. They will now come to the National Working Committee, submit their position, and then the National Working Committee will convoke the National Executive Committee, where this issue now can be discussed and possibly ratified. Now, for that process to be concluded, the constitutionally provided officers must be given their right to act. In this case, the engine room of the party, the accountant general of the party, the person who runs the administrative affairs of the party is the National Secretary Office. And there is only one yet amongst the party that is National Secretary, which is Senator Samuel Anyanwu. Even though the Southeast Caucus, so-called, convened and nominated someone to replace Sam Anyanwu still is, until NEC holds, Sam Anyanwu still is the National Secretary of PDP. So it behoves on him, therefore, to sign the letter alongside the national chairman as provided for by law for NEC to hold. So what held last month, that is the 99th so-called NEC meeting, was not signed, the meeting was not convoked by the by due process. So National Secretary Samanyangu did not sign any letter that came about that meeting. So chairman of the party writing INEC to now say that they want to hold NEC, the 100th NEC, where they will ratify possibly the Samanyangu matter as provided, as nominated by the Southeast Caucus and all of that. Now, INEC has said, no, that's not the process. The process is that we have only one national secretary as recognized by law in our system, and that name is Senator Samuel Nnemekanyanwu. The letter you're sending to us must have his own signature as part of it, requesting this NEC to hold. This is the law. Nigeria is not a banana republic. And when I said that there is no crisis in the party, I meant it. I'm not playing. I'm not quagmire or no quagmire. Well, it's politics. It's not a religious organization. People must drag for positions as what is going. PDP, like I said to you, is the only political party positioned to highlight and promote democratic tenets in Nigeria so that we can achieve our nationhood. Unlike the other political party, this kind of quagmire, as my brother using his words, stated here, will not happen because one man can just wake up and decide, and it will happen that this person is out. So PDP is going through that process. And let me tell you, at the end of it all, and by the way, yesterday was the birthday of our leader, the national secretary, that is on the 18th, was the birthday of Senator Samuel Nnemekanyanwu. And indeed, it was grand. All PDP members celebrated him. And here I am taking this opportunity to celebrate him because indeed, he is our national secretary. Any other thing that is being bandied around is politics until next sits and ratifies whatever Southeast Caucus nominated. That's the only person that is national secretary is still Senator Samuel Nnemekanyanwu. And what INEC has told the national chairman to do is follow the process. For NEC to speak,
we get your point.
Both of you, the national secretary and the national chairman, must sign, join and sign the letter.
We get your point. We get your point.
That is the law.
Mr. Rebo, we get your point because I think you've made the same point when you started. But it seems like Mr. Okai is not impressed with your points, especially the last point you made there.
It's allowed. He's my brother, like I said, and he's in Dorondoro Chichi. He's pulling his own side, and I'm pulling my own side. Okay. But in the end, PDP will win.
Okay, let's hear from Mr. Okai then.
The problem here is that there's something my friend in the studio is running away from it. The fact remains that, yes, is he aware of the power of the PDP governors forums? Twice, they have sat on this case and they have come up with the option. Yes, legally, Samanyanwu remains the national secretary of the party until INEC say otherwise. Nobody can take that away. But remember, this case went as far as Supreme Court, the apex, the highest court in the land, which stated that the issue of the national secretary remain internal affairs of the party. What is the internal affairs of the party? The organs of the party. Who are the organs of the party? The governors' forums. What are they? The BOT. What happened? They convened a meeting and they hired a solution to it. NEC is as powerful as convention. He knows the reality. And he knows the decision taken by the NEC is as equal as the decision taken at the National Convention. The NEC can replace anybody. They have that constitutional power. The NEC can even remove the national chairman by passing a vote of no confidence on him. It must not be through the National Convention. That is the reality. The fact is now is we as a PDP, or those the lovers of democracy, all we need to do is to appeal to the conscience of Samanyanwu. Either he resign voluntarily, because as long as INEC keep recognizing him, there's no meeting you can hold. There's no next meeting you can hold now that will be issue of legal matters as it stands. And INEC decisions, because with the Supreme Court ruling, they have given the whole power to INEC. And that is what Samanyanwu is taking advantage of it. That is the reality. Either we beg him to allow the party to move forward, or we accept the reality and wait until the tenure comes to an end. And that should be the way forward as it stands now. We have two things now. Okay. Either Sam resign, or we wait for his tenure to end. That is my advice to the People's Democratic Parties and Nigerians as a whole. So the realities on ground is that is Sam's position remain legal by the law? Yes.
But is he in tandem with the organs of the party, the working of the party? No. Is he popular within the party as is today? No. And if it is okay, why are people leaving the party? Nothing is happening other than so many governors has gone, the former vice president has gone. Is it about you occupying the position, or is it about you moving the party? Is the party doing well today? No. So these issues of national secretary has long been overflogged, and I sincerely advise the PDP, either they work with him now, or they stand a chance of not even fielding any candidate in the coming election, because you can't put something or nothing. He's still recognized, and any meeting, anything that come out from anybody, anything you produce outside Samayao today is nullity, including the planned national convention is nullity. And if the national convention emerge and anybody buy a form from them, whoever signed that form from you, it is still a nullity. So the implication is that the party is standing not even going to the 2027 election unless this issue is resolved now, and time is now, and the time is running out. The time is running out. I don't think anybody, you can see the excuse from the governor of Akwa Ibom State. He is scared of his second-term nomination forms. Who is going to sign for him and who will not sign? Because any convention you hold now without Sam Anyanwu is still nullity. So we are now at the mercy of Sam Anyanwu. If he decides to resign, fine. If he refuses to resign, we should work with him pending the end of his tenure. The case has gone to the appeal court, from the court in Enugu to the appeal court to Supreme Court, back to the BOT resolution, back to the next meeting, down to the governor's forums, and yet it still remains. We are now at his mercy, and that is just the reality. I agree with my colleagues there that as it stands today, there's nothing we can do without him. But there was a vote of no confidence standing against Sam Anyanwu. Being national secretary is not a popular as it seems. 90% of the PDP are members, or let me say 70% of the PDP members, if you throw it open today, they'll vote against him. Then why are you still remaining there?
So if you're saying, Mr. Okai,
power belongs to the people.
Mr. Okai, if you're saying that at the end of the day you are at the mercy of Sam Anyanwu, that you can't do anything, you admit that you can't do anything without him, can't the party then just wait till the expiration of his tenure? Doesn't he have just 6 months left?
Can I please respond?
You will respond. I just want this a follow-up to what he had said, but after that you will respond. But I want him to quickly speak to this, please.
Advise the party that they should comply with him and wait for him to end his tenure. And that is it. We are now at his mercy. He is my friend, then you know.
Mr. Okai, we were having an issue with your audio. You need to unmute. I think something has.
Who signed separately?
Okay.
For the party primaries in Enugu State. So we are at his mercy. That is the reality.
All right. Let's now come back to you, Mr. Nnamdi. Please go ahead, Mr. Nnamdi Dixon.
Yes, thank you so much. You see, first off, my dear brother Austin, what I have here is our constitution. And this is what the Supreme Court said you should go back to. Whatever this constitution says, follow it, and then you will solve your problem. Because this is your holy grail. Anything outside it is chaos, as you are calling for. But let me please, allow me please, so that I can make my point. The point I'm making is that you told us here, and this is a misrepresentation, you told the viewing audience here that the Governors Forum has constitutional powers. No, there is no constitutional powers. Their powers is advisory. They are only powerful because they are funding the party. But their position as provided for in the constitution is advisory. So if, for instance, one of their own says, I want to remove this guy from my zone because I don't like his face, whatever it is that is personal, with the person, then he now comes to his group. And of course, they watch each other's back. They will naturally agree to whatever their colleague has presented. But after they do that, they now present to NWC as an advice. They can advise the NWC, sack Sam Anyanwu. NWC knows now that for them to sack Sam Anyanwu, they have to follow this book, the holy book of PDP, is the Constitution. Anything that is not here is all cock and bull. Sam Anyanwu is not a threat to PDP. In fact, in the future, we, the generation now, will be grateful that someone like Sam Anyanwu fought constitutionally and
We've been disconnected from your audio, Mr. Dixon and Namdi. We can't hear you. Yeah, we're hoping that you can reconnect. Maybe we can hear from Mr. Okai now if your audio issues are resolved as well. I think right now we've now made the conversation about who the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party is. But if we go back to the way this conversation started, it was about INEC's refusal for the NEC meeting to hold. Today is June 19th. We have 11 more days to the 30th of June. What next? Will this, what do you think, where does the PDP go to from here? Mr. Okai, if you're there, please speak to us.
What I said, that is the point I said we are at his mercy. Either the governance forums, the POT admit or agree to work with Samanya pending the end of his tenure, or we stand a chance of not even being recognized in the coming general election 2027, because you can't put something on nothing. Anything you do, any convention you do without Samaya's signature on it is nullity. From the work INEC may not even supervise the national convention coming up. And how can you conduct a national convention without INEC being there? That's why I say we are at his mercy. And that is the Governors Forum. I never said that the Governors Forum have a constitutional power. They form the party. They pay the salaries of the staffs of the party. They decide what. They are the leaders of the parties and their federal states, not the former governors, unless when there's not a sitting governor, not the senator, unless when there's not the state has never produced a PDP governor. So the reality, he knows that the standard mechanisms of the party that I said, and as I still started to say, that the Governors Forum is one of the most powerful organs of the party. Yes, they play advisory role, but do that mean that is it new? No, right from the times of the governor, right from the time of Dr. Okwasi-Lizimodo, so many of them, Abodadi, so many of the former national chairman, the Governors Forum has been so powerful, and everybody know. Even the current in APC, the Governors Forum is still so powerful. The president is aware of that. So that is what I'm saying. I said the staying put of Sam and not just staying there. What do you need this power for? The party is dying. And now that the party is dying, there is a vote of no confidence on the current national chairman, Damagu, and the national secretary. So many of them have been saying that they are working for APC. And you see some people believe that instead of staying in PDP, they are working for APC directly. Why not go to APC directly? That is one of the reasons why so many of them are, look at it now. How will you be losing governors every month? The governors are leaving. We have lost Delta State. We have lost Edo State. We don't know. I mean, we have lost Edo State in the election. We have lost Akwa Ibom. The Bayelsa and what is the other name? River State. River is on suspension. The party is on sick bed, and nobody should come and romance or the economical with the truth. We should tell who is joining PDP today. Nobody.
Oh well.
Can I finish my thoughts?
Your audio again, unfortunately, has interrupted Mr. Okai. I believe that Nnamdi Dixon is back as well to the conversation. And the question that I had asked Mr. Okai that I also want you to respond to, because I think the one thing you both can agree on is that Mr. Okai admits or agrees that the party cannot do anything without Samuel Anyanwu. Mr. Nnamdi Dixon thinks that and believes that Samuel Anyanwu is the rightful candidate, the rightful national secretary. So yes, maybe with slight different colorations, both of you are in a way on the same page. But I think the next question would be, if INEC refuses, as they have refused, to approve this NEC meeting to hold, what happens in the next 11 days?
Okay, let me quickly respond to that. The truth is that this confusion or this pains that PDP is going through right now is self-inflicted. I am not averse to the fact of these challenges, but it is self-inflicted. Even my brother, including what he's saying now, you ask yourself, the authority in the land has constitutionally followed the process. Why do you want to flout the law and still keep holding on to, that somebody is the problem? No, you're flouting the law. The law is clear that this person is the constitutionally recognized national secretary, and his tenure elapses December 9th, 2025. What is the hurry about? Why don't we just go through that process and support this person to help keep accounting to the party, and then we won't have all of this. It was this same group of people, like my brother here, who supported in 2022 that the party should leave the zoning formula that is constitutionally recognized and adopt what is now called throwing it open. After throwing it open, the party got into a chaos. And that chaos is what we're still going through. The mistake of not upholding the constitution of the party in 2023. In 2023, what the party ought to have done is zoned to the south. But my brother from the other side kept saying no, that they had only 3 years, which is Yaradua. No, we don't play God. When the act of God happens, we just follow through the process. It is God. You can't query him. Nobody took Yaradua. Death took him away. And it is only God that owns the power to give life and to kill. So in this case, Yaradua was in government and death came. Jonathan concluded that term and then sought for another term. Yes, the crack started with Jonathan not keeping the agreement, which was that he was going to do 1 term. But then the northern Nigeria, led by Atiku Abubakar and a few others, a few of them got us into what we have found ourselves today. And 2015, APC came and ruined so far everything that PDP established for the good governance and administration of the affairs of the Nigerian people. So here we are again, not upholding, all right, the constitution of the party. The constitution is clear. Let us follow it. These sentiments that my brother is throwing up, people will leave PDP and people will come in. It's not the first time. But let me assure the likes of him, because maybe he is also going to leave. We are not going to leave. We are going to build this party. And this party will come back to power and help redeem the Nigerian nation and, put the nation back on track. That is what PDP will stay for. But these aspects of wanting to flout the law and then you say, oh, that somebody should resign and all of that. My brother, that's a lie. Like I said earlier, before the network, disrupted me, I was saying that the likes of us, generations to come, will be grateful to the likes of Samuel Anyanwu for helping to uphold the rule of law. Because anything outside upholding this document, you are bringing anarchy, you are bringing confusion, and that is why PDP is going through what it's going through. The likes of you should change and adopt the constitution of the party. That is what will give the party relevance. That is what will give the party credence. Recognize what your party wrote as a document that should guide governance of the party. Recognize it, uphold it, and then let us also uphold this constitution, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let us also uphold it. That way, we are building a democratic environment and not our own sentiments and emotions and all of that.
All right.
It is politics, but let's play according to the rules of engagement.
All right.
That is the case here.
Thank you.
Is our national secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Irugbe. Just to wrap things up, Irugbe, anyway, we've heard from you. Your last words, please, because we're running out of time.
Mr.
Okai.
In fact, just as I said, him is being emotional of this matter and he's doing a hard job for Samanyang. I do not oppose Samanyang. I'm not against him. Neither am I working for him. But the fact remains that every Nigerian sees PDP as no serious opposition today. And that is why you are seeing people leaving. And what is the essence of the party when you cannot stand up for the people? What is it? So yes, I agree with him that the Atiku candidations of 2023 created chaos in the party. And at the same time, instead of Atiku to remain and resolve the party problem, stand up to provide leadership, he has run and now into coalition. Which I agree with him. But the fact remains is Anyanwu as the national secretary, we are all admitted to it. Is the party doing well under them? What is the fate of the Nigerians? Do Nigeria believes in PDP today? No. Why are people saying that Sam Anyanwu and Damagu cannot lead to the National Convention? Because so many believe that they will produce their like. What is their like? So many believe that they are working for APC, that they are closer allies of FCT minister, who is now an appointee, who has endorsed President Tinubu for 2027. By allowing Sam Anyanwu and Damagu to produce the next leg, the coming National Executive Working Committee will have no option than to also work for Tinubu. That is the thinking of majorities of the people who are saying that let these people live. They cannot produce their life in the National Convention. I'm not against them. If Samanya will choose to remain best of luck, he said that I am leaving. I don't know what is mean by that. I am more PDP than him. I was the candidate of the party in the last election. What is he saying that my life? What does he mean by my life? What does he mean by that? If you look at my position, I'm being objective on this matter. I'm being objective. I've never taken side, and you know, Nigerian watching us all over know that who is working for who and who is not working for who. I'm not against Amayao, but now PDP doing well, no. Are people living? Yes. Are people joining the party? No. Is the party ready for the national convention? No. You can't do anything. The coming next meeting cannot hold because the INEC has rejected it. So we are at the mercy of him. That is not the reality. Thank you for the opportunity, and God bless you.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We unfortunately have to wrap up the conversation. I can see Mr. Nnamdi Dixon trying to speak. We've run out of time. We'll have to bring you both again. The conversation, I think we then made the bulk of the conversation about the legality or otherwise of the National Secretary and who should occupy that position. But we'll definitely have a continuation in the next 11 days. We'll see what the next steps are regarding the next meeting. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining the show.
Thank you. All right. It's been a very, very insightful one. Looking at the Constitution that guides the PDP, looking at the duly elected secretary, and the one whom, according to the conversation, has been chosen by a particular caucus or certain caucus, and then the powers that the National Executive Committee does have, not forgetting to the all-important meeting that's supposed to hold on the 30th of July. You've done the countdown, so we're waiting. Let's see what other PDP stalwarts will have to say. We'll go on a quick break here on Breakfast Central. Up next will be Breakfast Headlines. Plus, we will be taking a look at what the front pages are saying. Don't forget, you can be part of it as well. Stay with us after this break. Let's take a look at what the headlines are saying here on Breakfast Headlines on Breakfast Central. Let's begin in Borno State, where stakeholders converged on Thursday for the first ever town hall series organized by News Central Television in Northeast. Stakeholders at the town hall, led by Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, drew representatives from religious bodies, the civil society, women's groups, the security establishment, as well as politicians. They advocated a multi-stakeholder consensus-building approach as the best and most viable road piece to rebuild the Northeast, given its long history with terror attacks by non-state actors.
Largest private sector employer of labor in my local government. Today I have none. All of them are jobless because of insecurity. So we can do more to ensure that all our roads are open, security is beefed by our local community. We can volunteer, all of us can volunteer and ensure that we do more.
We're traveling around the country and around the world to reach out to Nigerians wherever they are, to say that they cannot afford to be silent about the problems that they have. So the message is clear. Speak up. See something and say something. Do not be silent, because your choice to be silent is a sign that you have given up. We have not at any point in time, we've never at any point in time in all the series of town hall meetings that we have had, we have not at all gone to anybody who is a politician to say, support us. And even now, we still haven't done that. We have not asked any government to support us because we are using News Central as the platform of the people. This is a platform for you and for me to be able to express ourselves so that those in government will hear.
The insurgency has triggered acute humanitarian and post-displacement crisis with devastating social and economic impact on our population, further deepening fragility and poverty in the Northeast sub-region. Before 2015, about 22 local government areas were under the control of the insurgents. Out of about 4 or 5 major roads that we have within Borno State, only one major road was accessible, which is Maiduguri to Kano. All other roads are were besieged by Boko Haram. We harvested a total number of, we harvested more than 100,000 orphans and widows as at 2016. These are official figures. About 700 energy distribution lines were destroyed. But I'm glad to stand here today and inform this other August gathering that as from 2015 to date, a lot has been achieved. I'm happy to note that I don't think you can identify one single person that can talk negatively about our recovery efforts.
Away from that very successful event, a Federal Capital Territory High Court in Maitama has granted bail to Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the senator representing Kogi Central, setting the amount at 15 million naira. The presiding judge, Chizoba Oji, dismissed the federal government's request to keep Akpoti-Uduaghan in prison custody pending trial. The judge found no valid reason to deny bail, citing sufficient evidence that the senator intends to face trial. As part of the bail conditions, Akpoti-Uduaghan must present one surety, who is a person of integrity and owns landed property in Abuja. The trial has been scheduled to begin on September 23. The senator appeared in court alongside her husband, Emmanuel Uduaghan, with several supporters present, including former Education Minister Obi Ezekwesili and human rights activist Aisha Yusufu. Meanwhile, the Northern Senators Forum has asked the federal government to equip the military and other security agencies with modern weapons to effectively combat terrorism and insurgency across the country. In a statement issued on Wednesday and signed by Abdulaziz Yaradua, chairman of the forum, the senators condemned the recent attacks in Benue State, in which over 100 people were killed by suspected headsmen. The lawmakers commiserated with the families of the victims and wished the injured a speedy recovery. The forum called on Nigerians to remain alert and report suspicious activities to the relevant authorities, saying national security is a shared responsibility. In East Africa, a court in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, has ordered 2 police officers who are suspects in the shooting of an unarmed bystander to be detained for most of 15 days whilst investigations continue. The bystander, Boniface Kariuki, was on life support on Wednesday following surgery after the shooting, which triggered calls for new protests. Kariuki was shot by the police during clashes with protesters this week. Violent clashes erupted in the capital, Nairobi, on Tuesday after protesters demanding an end to police brutality were attacked by a large gang of motorbike riding goons and police officers. Well, don't forget that you can send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen for more news and more details. Well, don't forget as well that you can join a full news bulletin at 12 o'clock later today. Breakfast Central continues. Thanks for watching and stay with us.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. You're right in time for our newspaper headlines. Let's share what the front pages are saying today. Joining us is multi-award winning broadcaster of global repute, Habib Aruno. Good morning.
Morning.
I have to start refining ways to be introducing you. So that I need to let people know your
international repeat.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Okay.
Good morning.
Let's get into the papers this morning. Great Independence is our first paper. Rising insecurity is the big story there. It says Tinubu National Assembly have failed Nigerians, SMBLF says. Warns against reintroduction of Ruga National Forest Guards, says sole administrator must not conduct local government polls in Rivers. That's an important
I think that's the biggest.
Yes. In fact, maybe we should start with that one. Sole administrator conducting local government polls in Rivers. Is he overstepping his boundaries?
I think he has been overstepping his boundary all this while, and people have been complaining that this man has a directive, not a mandate, a directive from the president, approved by the National Assembly. That's the constitutional process. The president presented him, declared state of emergency, appointed him. The National Assembly must approve it so that it will be legal, be constitutional. That is what the National Assembly did. And that is why he had a sword and a purse that pause must be controlled and approved by the National Assembly. This man, the retired military man, is responsible for the National Assembly. That's why he went there yesterday to present his budget. And the National Assembly said they will monitor it and make sure it conforms to what is on the table. You know, but what people are saying, and rightly true, is that the man has been behaving as if he was elected. He's been behaving as if he has a mandate of the people of Rivers State, and he did not. He's not been that mandate. So by conducting the local government elections, we'll be circumventing the Constitution. Not by saying, I don't think the National Assembly, with the right of Reps and Senate, will allow that, you know, because we know what it represents. The National Assembly represents a particular faction of the crisis. We all know that, you know. And the way and manner he has been running the government, the way and manner he has dismissed the supporters of the governor and the aides of the governor is an indication that the man will not be transparent and he will not conduct a free and fair government polls in that state.
He has appointed the RISIC.
And some people have been appointed by him.
Yes.
And he has been checkmated to some extent.
Yes, we saw them.
But people have been crying out, protest, in the street, in the state. So I think he will not go to the extent of doing that. If he does that, people in that state have a right to go to court and stop him. Government elections will be conducted by somebody that was elected. That is safe for power. And we are hopeful that from all indications, it's as if they're trying to resolve the matter so the man can come back.
But
6 months.
But him coming back, and yesterday the sole administrator was in the House to defend the budget, 1.846 trillion naira. And he's saying that he also made a statement that the budget will prepare the return to civilian rule, meaning that, of course, he's looking to ensure that the budget is used wisely for the people. There's no mention of the governor coming to...
No, you cannot mention the governor. It's implicit. It's in the best interest of democracy, best interest of President Tinubu, who have received many flanks, you know, for going that route, and the best interest of the people of Rivers State, and the best interest of Wike and Fubara, for that emergency route to end in the first phase, in 6 months. That's why I said, from all indications, all the parties are interested in ending it. And the government has been making some moves, you know, off his head. You know, people are saying that the man is capitulating, but I think it's not capitulation. It's the dynamics of the time. You know, you have to be, it's give and take. You know, give some, take some. But I think we are heading somewhere to be resolved.
Okay. There's still other stories here. Too many stories on the front page of the Daily Independent. I would have talked about Ruga, but we'll come back to that. Benue killing, so BP Pixel in Tinubu's visit says it lacked empathy. Surge in vandalism may throw Nigeria into darkness. TCN warns. Oyetola flags off Nigeria's Imo Council election campaign in London. 6,260 terrorists killed. 5,365 civilians rescued in 2 years, according to the Defense Headquarters. WHO unveils guidelines for managing sickle cell disease during pregnancy. Wike Defense Tax Drive says Abuja gets just 1% of federal government allocation. Tariff hike. MTN Airtel may generate over 3 trillion naira from data in 2025. Subscribers grown over cost and poor service. Rivers 1.846 trillion naira budget to prepare for return to civil rule, Ibas says. Joe has highlighted that. FCCPC seals visa centers in Abuja for obstruction of investigation. These are the stories on the front page. You were not here to talk about the president's visit yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
2 days ago.
On Wednesday, yes, yesterday. So Peter Obi is saying that it lacked empathy. I think he's particularly referring to the Benue incident, especially because he talked about the president dressing in Agbada.
The statement issued by on Twitter by Peter Obi.
Yes.
Where he was talking about.
And then he made comparisons to South Africa.
Went to Benue in a celebratory mood.
Yeah.
That it should be more, it should show more empathy, more sympathetic to the victims and what they are facing. But Peter Obi is a politician, but I will not agree with him on this matter. The president, people have been shouting that the president should visit Benue. He went there 2 days ago. visited some victims at the hospitals and addressed a town hall. And it demonstrated leadership. Many stakeholders were there. The top thief came up, stood up and told the president what is happening. It's about land grabbing. You can't come in from Futajalon and elsewhere and come and be grabbing our land. Many issues were raised. And the president, a politician, a statesman, leader, address it. Many people will not be happy with it. Like Atiku Abubakar, like Peter Obi. They are opposition leaders. Their job is to put the president on his toes. And that is what is good for democracy. And we as media is to put issues on the table, let people judge. So what Obi is saying is a peculiar thing for people to say as an opposition, not like Atiku Abubakar. But the president, when they sent a message, told them that they must come together and work together for peace to reign. He told the government to work with the federal government. And also instructed, directed the security agencies, the CDS and the IG. My friend, where the arrests were made. So I think those are the issues that a leader. So I agree with the president on this matter. Obi has the right, to express his reservation. But the president has gone there and message has been sent.
Okay, let's go to the next paper, the Daily Times, Joe.
Yes, Daily Times. On the front page of the Daily Times, alleged defamation. Senator Natasha Akpoti docked, granted 50 million naira bail. Terrorism charges. Kano opens defense July 18. Federal government settles 1.2 trillion naira pension backlog. Launches boost for 223,000 retirees. Kaduna visit. President Tinubu honors Dangiwa with national CFR title. Senate leader explains increase in Rivers 2025 budget proposal. He was here yesterday. He was on the show, an interview with us here, that he explained the increase, not forgetting to, he talked about the padding. Well, this time we're talking about the spokesperson, the Senate spokesperson who was here yesterday. Tuga rallies West Africa against neo-colonialism at ECOWAS meeting. But let's focus on Natasha. 50 million naira bail granted, which of course she took, and the case has been adjourned until later on this month.
Many legal experts, senior lawyers, have queried the federal government, intervention on this matter. That defamation, criminal defamation, for what? Senior lawyers have said that, why? This man was just expressing her opinion on TV. So on civil matter, not criminal.
I think the aspect is because of the allegations of assassination that they had sent people to come and kill her. But before we have you respond to that, we have Trudy calling from Lagos. Good morning, Trudy. Please go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, good morning, Olive and Joe. Yes, I heard what your guest is saying. First of all, I want to talk about the administrator of River State. For me, as a person, he is an imposter. He is not known by the law. And by that single act, that act is suspicious. You have 6 months to stay in an office, and you're talking about budget. 3 months or 2 months has already gone. I suspect a foul play. They should be vigilant. Secondly, on the issue of Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, federal government interfering, empty, taking her to court. My worry is this. This matter is between Atabio and Natasha. How come federal government in that matter?
Correct.
What is the federal government business in that matter by taking her to court? But we thank God, judiciary, we hope on judiciary. Judiciary, I know, will do a good job. We are waiting to see the outcome of this matter. They want to distract us, but it will not work. Nigerians wants to know what happened in that hallowed chamber. Whether the accusation is true or false, Nigerians want to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Trudy.
Thank you very much, Trudy, for sharing your thoughts.
Fantastic intervention from the caller.
Yeah.
Because Natasha may be on trial, but at the same time, the judiciary will be on trial.
Judiciary as well?
Yes, absolutely.
But what about the third person?
Who?
The Senate President.
The the judiciary, the president is on trial. It's the federal government that is taking Natasha to court. And people are saying, what is the interest of the federal government here? Why? This man was expressing his opinion
to an individual.
And he was saying, he was taking him to court that she was defending the character of the Kogi State governor, who has no character, type of opinion. Former Kogi State governor, Idris has no character. I stand by it. I'm on national television. And Akpabio, Senate president, who has vigorously criticized by Nigerians for not doing a good job. So I think the more you pursue this case, the more you make Natasha to be a star. Yesterday she was a star. The social media, at corporate basis, and if you look at the public opinion, most Nigerians are supporting her. They are with her. So the more you take her to court, the more you make her a star, and I'm sure the judiciary are watching. They do the right thing in this matter.
I like how you said judiciary is being watched, is in focus. Because truly, just like the caller said, judiciary would also be watched on how they handle this particular matter. And then the caller also raised a very, very salient point. I mean, why the federal government? What's the federal government business? And that's what you said as well.
Okay, Tukba, these are senior lawyers, senior SANs. They came out and said, they wrote the AG.
The Attorney General of the Federation.
What are you doing?
Even the Attorney General of the Federation, yes, he spoke as well.
So what are you talking about? What are you doing? I'm saying that I don't have a right, not have my opinion on this TV now. Take me to court. And they have to take me to court. Let the people that are involved take me to court. And I was also my lawyer. Let's go to court. Let's go there. You know, so the government, if the government is just showing that they have something to hide, something to defend, you know, by taking this woman to court. And by so doing, we are making her a star. We're giving her a platform to shine. Now what is happening? That's my opinion. They should be advised. Leave this woman alone. Now there are way of doing it. You know, drop the case and let go and resolve their matter at the Senate.
All right. I mean, when we talked about this at the start of the show, that's one of the things that I said. That yes, on the one hand, you would say that those are very strong allegations, saying that someone is behind the attempt on your life and has given specific instructions that you should be killed in Kogi State, and you know they should make sure that that happens. And you pointed fingers at the Senate President and the former governor of the state. Those are very strong allegations.
What is the federal government?
However,
what is that business there?
However, so
you are a lawyer.
What
is the interest of the federal government in this matter? Why are you crying more than the bereaved?
I'm not holding brief.
The state governor, who has no character?
Do you represent the federal government?
I'm not holding brief for the federal government. I am not holding brief for the federal government, but I would assume that part of the argument may be that these are strong criminal allegations that border on, which is what we are hearing, that border on not just the personalities of the persons involved, and because in their capacity, for example, they're not law enforcement officials, but that they're serving in the federal government, so also reflects poorly on the federal government. I don't know. That may be the argument, that it's now no longer civil defamation, but maybe criminal defamation. But another question that comes to mind is, where was this energy when Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan first complained about how there was an abuse of power, when there was sexual allegations against the Senate, and the Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee said that the matter was dead on arrival. You know, Imaswen had come out
cannot be proven.
Yeah, you know, to strongly criticize that. So I think these are areas that should be highlighted.
Absolutely.
Let's take a call from Ali calling from Kano. Khalid calling from Kano. Good morning, Khalid. Khalid, can you please speak up? All right, I don't think that we have Khalid. I just to mention.
It's a bit low.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but please speak up.
Please speak up, please.
And turn down the volume of your TV set, Khalid, please.
Hello.
All right, might have to disconnect Khalid and have him call back. Just to mention, for anyone who tries to call, please, as soon as you call, turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can have a conversation, or else we'll have to disconnect the call because there's an interference there somehow. So yes, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's case is still in court, and we'll continue to follow it. You said that they've made her the star, which is the truth. See all the influencers are supposed
this case,
you know,
the more they embarrass themselves, the more the whole world will be seeing that these people are interested. You know, they are interested in protecting the interest of their stooges, like former governor of Kogi State and Senate President. You know, and it also shows that in democracy people don't have the right to voice their opinion,
right.
which is one of the major ingredients of democracy, is the right of speech, freedom of speech. So by taking this woman to court, what is the interest of the federal government on this matter?
Okay, Paul is calling from Lagos. Let's hear from Paul. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
Please go ahead and speak up.
And I'm calling from Lagos. I want to comment on the Natasha issue. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but your voice is very faint. If you can please speak up.
Okay, I said my name is Paul and I'm calling from Lagos. I want to comment on the Natasha issue.
Go ahead.
And, what she has done, she has made a very grave allegation on the Senate President and some other Senate members. What your guest there, I don't know if it's your guest, I'm a first-time caller here. What your guest is saying is like someone who is taking sides. She has stand on national TV to make these allegations, and the federal government has to be involved in the matter. This matter should not just be swept under the carpet. She must bring evidences that will show that this is what they planned against her. We should not just say because she's a woman and so whatever she says, everybody should take it like that. The case must be decided by the court, and whatever the court says, at least we should believe in our courts also. We should have a sense of trust in our judiciary. Thank you.
Go. Before you go, are you there?
I'm with you.
Okay, I think our guest has a question for you, because I think you wanted to...
Yes, Mr. Paul. I want to know the interest of the federal government on this matter. What are they interested? I was thinking that the Senate President or the former governor of Kogi State will petition the police. That is what this woman is saying. This is defamation against my person, against their persons. Why is the federal government intervening? What is their interest on the matter?
The Senate President's lawyer has also called Natasha to come to court. And up till now, she has not appeared in court. At least you are aware of that she should bring strong evidence. So the federal government, if she's not coming to court, the federal government also has a part in this, because these people are also in the federal government. She has made a strong allegation.
They're not in the federal government. The Senate President is in the Senate legislature. Why the former Kogi judge is in Kogi State?
It's an arm of the federal government now. It's an arm of the...
No, please. The Senate has its own entity, different organ from the executive, which is the federal government.
Okay, let's rest the case. But the point I want to make is that at least let us give the judiciary a sense of trust. At least let's believe in them, that they can come up with the truth. Thank you.
For it. I think it's good we clear that air, because it's very important that as Nigerians we understand when actions are taken.
Correct.
We've seen too many decisions being made. For instance, the River State crisis is one situation that up until 10-15 years time, Nigerians will still poke and find a hole inside the decisions.
Yes, questions.
Because, take a look at what we're seeing. The sole administrator is now appointing a RISIC. And we're asking questions. Is it that the situation we found in River State now upholds or gives him all of that power?
That is it.
And then again, Rivers people will tell you that, where was the violence? Can you pinpoint where it was that led? So we just have to ensure that we follow through every single situation. But let's go to our next paper very quickly.
We have one more call from Ilorin.
It seems this Friday everybody's
calling from Ilorin. Good morning. Thanks for calling. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I don't know whether I'm audible, the first-time caller.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't really go into the technicalities of the matter. But I think what concerns me is former governor's role in this. Yaya Bello. You could argue that Akpabio is the Senate President. On that basis, you could have this lawsuit come up. But for Yahya Bello, it's, to me, it seems off, you know, to bring him into this. On what basis is he being, is Natasha being sued? As far as Yahya Bello is concerned, what is the relationship between the federal government and Yahya Bello? And I think it's something you know, your guest could you know, throw some light on. That's my own view. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Naro. Just to mention that our guest is not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
I'm conversant with realities on ground.
Absolutely.
And it's a corollary to what the last caller said too about the Senate President and the former governor of Kogi State. They are not under the federal government. The Senate President is the leader, is the head of the national legislature in Nigeria, you know, and can be sued. And I was thinking that Senate President or the affected former governor in Kogi State will write a petition
to the IGP.
To the IGP, who will now investigate and take Natasha to court. Because what people are saying, senior lawyers in Nigeria, Falana, Okutukpa, what they are saying variously, consistently, is that the federal government has no role, has no job in instituting a criminal case against Natasha. That shows that they have more than casual interest on the matter. And I was thinking that even if they're interested, it should have been civil, not criminal.
So that's a challenge as well. I think that we're treading on murky waters here, because normally, in a number of cases, the state can institute a criminal action on behalf of a private citizen if there has been a crime committed here.
Okay.
And part of what they are pushing for is the fact that, or part of what the argument might be, is that this was a criminal offense because they're making it a criminal defamation as opposed to a civil defamation. But then again, there's arguments about criminal defamation not being in accordance with citizens' rights. You know, there have been, you know, global outcry and criticism against criminal defamation because they feel like it stifles citizens' rights to freedom of speech, especially when this criminal defamation did not incite violence of any sort. So I think it's a bit of a confusing situation here that the court will have to, of course, be the final decision.
But the upshot and the ultimate, in my view, is the federal government should not infringe on the fundamental human right of citizens. That is very, very key.
That's another aspect.
That's very, very key.
Because when the senator went outside of Nigeria...
Let's hear from Onyeka. He's calling from the country's capital. He's calling from Abuja. Good morning, Onyeka.
Onyeka, how's the FCT?
Onyeka, can you please be audible? We can't hear you.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you. Yes, I just want to comment on the issue of the River State. I just watched it from my sister with this, you know, television right now. You know, I was also watching. Then when I now tuned into the News Central, I just had somebody speak about that. Now, the position I want to take, and I'm very sad about this whole thing, is that it doesn't seem to me that the issue of River State is sincerely coming to an end. Hello? Can you hear me? Are you with me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I don't see the Mr. President sincerely and this APC government. I pray that God will sincerely help us. You see, when Fubara, with all the things that happened in River State, we all watched it. We all witnessed it. And then the Solar administrator was voting from the retired Navy, you know, Oga that came from Akwa Ibom or Cross River State. I thought it was supposed to be a small, you know, a stopgap, maybe in another 6 months. Everything should be preparatory to handing over to Fubara. And for instance, like somebody said on your studio, you know, we didn't see any of this violence that should orchestrate the state of emergency. Is this a state grabbing, you know, plan from Wike? You know, I don't get this. Mr. President, who we said he is, a Democrat, should start and concussion this young man called Wike. And all he thinks he's doing. He has grabbed the judiciary. He has done this. He's even leading Mr. President to some of the things that I know Mr. President Tinubu, you know, if I thought to be corrected, shouldn't have done. So what's going on? Bringing people, passing the budget for whatever it is, and then for whatever it is and whatever it is, and you go to the Senate and accept it. And the people of Rivers State are not benefiting absolutely on any infrastructure development or roads or health or education. I can't see any benefit whatsoever, warranting the passing or jacking up of the nation, apart from grabbing money for their 2027 politics, which Wike demands Friday from Mr. President. This is not fair at all. The citizens have been taking everything absolutely have been emasculated in Rivers State. So for me, it's not good. Like somebody said, the settlement are going to go to Rivers State. Akwebom and Kano and bring a representative the civil service requirement of Rivers State. So this is not fair. Let's call it spade a spade. My heart is bleeding for Rivers State, and I don't know when this whole thing is going to end. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Just to add again to what our callers say, just to mention that, take note that the views are that of our contributors and doesn't really mean it's our own views. But of course, Nigerians are reacting. And I also want to add that just last week, the sole administrator come out to say that he's not getting the support of the Rivers people in all the things he's trying to implement. And I could recall some comments made under that particular news piece. They said, how would he get the support of the people when he was not duly elected by the people? And then someone referred to democracy. And that brings me to a question that I'd love to ask you. But let's see the question that will come up. But first, let's look at the Guardian newspaper. That's where the question will come out from. The Guardian newspaper has on the front page there, violent attacks, peacetime killings, question value of Nigerian life. Ibas alleges sabotage, that's it, at budget defense as Senate reiterates democratic rule. He highlighted sabotage. He's not getting the support from the people, it seems, and so the body language, the way they are reacting, even though he's changed the people around, the structure, the supposed structure. Again, Tinubu inaugurates specialist hospital named after him in Kaduna. I want to take these two stories. I think we should leave Rivers State for now. Maybe let me just beg for that because of time. We are seeing infrastructures being commissioned and being named after the president, first by the FCT minister, and now another one being named by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What's your take?
Let me quickly talk about the Rivers matter.
Okay,
the concern. You see, there's no way people will be happy. People are even in a hurry. They are waiting for this man to leave, this administrator. Because to them, this man was imposed. This man was appointed to consummate the agenda of an interested party, which is Wike. That is the feelings on the street of Port Harcourt and Rivers State. So they cannot wait for the man to leave. And if I were the man, the administrator, I would be interested in leaving the place. I have been able to restore peace. By extension, law and order, then please leave the space, leave the stage for someone that was elected to take over. That is the feelings in Rivers State. Then, to the question, second question. I was talking to one of the aides of the president last week when Wike named the ICC after the president. And I told him that you guys don't understand history. History will not be kind to you guys if you continue to take this kind of steps. It cannot work. The criticism that trade the last week, even the money that was spent to renovate the place was also a subject of criticism by Nigerians. How can you name an edifice in the center of Abuja after a current president, sitting president, and the man gladly accepted it? It's funny, we did not elect the king. We elected the president, and by the line with the constitution, the president is accountable to both the National Assembly and Nigerians. So who gave Wike that audacity? The man who just being sycophantic as usual, to be on the good side of the president, on the good book of the president. I think the president has a duty. Going to Kaduna yesterday too, they named an hospital, a major hospital after him. You cannot be commissioning your own things that were named after you. You cannot be naming public properties after a sitting president. And then Nigeria, the last time I checked, it's not a banana republic. So you should be dissuaded from accepting those things.
What do you mean?
It's not good enough.
The word
it's not good for even his legacy. It's not good for his name. Yes, let them name these things after he has left office. Not when in office. Babangida was there, a military ruler. He didn't name the mainland bridge after himself. Even look at Buhari. They didn't name one. Or when they left office or on the verge of his leaving office. This should not be encouraged. The president advisor should advise him. Papa, this is not fair. This is not good enough. What for your name?
Sorry to butt in, because of our time. I mean, when we started the show, some points were highlighted. And I remember that I did make a very clear notion that maybe the SSAs have not really sat down with the president to say, listen, there are a few things that we need to step in quickly and debunk when they happen. Because I'm sure the president must have gotten a letter prior to his visit to the state.
Because the truth is, it's not the president that is doing everything. All those billboards, it's not the president that is putting it up, and it's not the one that...
The word psychophancy has been trending for a long time.
Based on my proximity with these guys, some of the aides are very close to him. I'm always very frank with him. I can't name names now. Very frank. You walk up to me and tell him that, okay, this is wrong. And even the SS will be surprised that, what are you guys saying? But, you know, the man is in charge. If you take the decision, the buck stops on the table.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's pragmatic enough to know that this thing is not right. It's not right. You can't be naming public property, public monuments after yourself, because this thing cannot be done without your knowledge and approval.
Exactly.
It's not good for him at all. It's not good. The earlier he knows about it, the better he stop this charade.
But these
people are just sycophantic because it's in power. When you leave power tomorrow, they will change again, they will change that too.
They will change it again.
I mean, dancing to the new drum that is playing. So I think we should be very careful. We should be more circumspect as a leader. Write your name in the mouth of the people, not in public monuments. They don't work that way.
That's a quote.
There are many ways that
history works.
History cannot rewrite history. It's there.
Just to wrap things up.
Tomorrow, Awolowo is in our minds. Bola is in our minds. If you go to my bar, I put show in Kadia. If you have paid your dues in history will record you right. You don't put names. They don't work.
And I think that's a great way to wrap up this conversation. And I really like that quote. Write your name in the minds of people and not in monuments.
That's the best
and
way.
I'm hoping
Look at Awolowo now.
Yes. Politicians, public officials, leaders can remember that.
When you pay your dues, it will be written there in their minds forever.
Posterity will judge you.
Even the late Musa Yar'Adua, the president, the late president, even the little years he had, he's still being referred to as one of the best.
Easy we record it.
You know.
Okay, we have to get out of the studio. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to everyone who called during the newspaper reviews, to all our guests who have joined us virtually and physically. Breakfast Extra continues over the course of the weekend. Mazino and Judith will be following up with some of these stories we've begun to talk about, as well as the fresh stories that will break over the course of the weekend. But once again, I want to say thank you. We'll be back on Monday. I am Olive MOD.
And I'm Joe Hansen. Thank you to our callers as well, because I mean, you also shared your views. Thanks, and thanks to our guests.
Thank you very
so
much.
Always a pleasure.
You still owe us meat, just so we are clear.
I don't know about this conversation.
That's all.
Thanks for watching.
Did not give us.
Have a great weekend.